Okay, shall we start? I think most of you have joined.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I hope you have gone through the syllabus, and this is our lab practice one. In the part one, we have the practical related to FDS, that is Programming Laboratory. Okay, and it has two turns in a week. So we'll just start with the first assignment. I'll read the problem statement. It has two parts. In first part, it has in a class of n students, some students like maths, some like science, and some like both the subjects. Okay, so there are a collection of students, and we are finding who's uh, how many students they like maths and who are those students, how many students like science, who are those students. Okay, and if we get that, we have to find the students who like either maths or science, that is first thing, then both maths and science, and third part is only maths and only science. Okay, so can you relate this mathematical problem to any structure? Which is this problem related to? This can be solved by using which mathematical concept? Sets and relations, correct?
Set solutions.
Yes, correct. It has it is solved using set operations. Okay. Now, in our programming, if we go to our programming kind of thing, which is this thing related to? So, if we want to store some elements of similar type, we think about sets in mathematical terms. But in programming, if we want to store the elements of similar type, which structure we look for?
Array.
Yes, because it is having the similar definition. Array is the structure where we are storing the similar elements. Isn't it? So to solve this problem, we will be using array concept. Okay. So what will be our first task? It will be creating two arrays for storing two sets. First array will store the elements or the roll numbers of the students who like math subject, and in the second array we will store the students roll numbers of the students who like science subject. Okay, so that will be our first task. Now whenever we go for the uh, any problem, to solve any problem, what we think about first thing is what is input for our problem. Okay, so in this case input is two arrays, maths and science. Okay, and second thing is we think about what is the expected output, and third thing is how to approach from input to output. What is the algorithm or what will be the steps for approaching to the output from given input. Okay, so if we have these three things, we can solve any small or big problem or any big project. Okay, so to solve any of these problems, what is expected? You should be first ready with the input. Okay, so here also our first task is to get the input from the user, and after we have the required input, then we will process it, okay, one by one to find all these things, okay, whatever are the mentioned options. So these are nothing but different functionalities expected from our program. Okay, and then how to show the output to the user, that is the third thing. Clear? So before we go to this, I will share with you an example what is expected. So usually what we do is we first solve the problem on paper, okay? So that we will come to know what is the expectation, what things we have to do. So I have written this. This is actually a very simple example, but for complex examples also, paperwork is very much important. Before you start actual coding, paperwork is very much important. Okay, so this is the simple problem which I have solved on paper. So set one is having these elements. We can assume these are the roll numbers of the students who like math subject, and there are five such students. Okay, for the second set, these are the students who like science subject. Okay, their roll numbers and their dimension of this set. Okay, and then if this is our input, so after our input is ready, we can go for the processing. So first is intersection, that is the students who like both the subject. Okay, so when we say any set, we imagine that there are two circles, isn't it? And one circle is set 1, another is set 2, and there will be some common part for those circles, that will be nothing but intersection. And the collection of all the elements of both the sets as well as the common part, that will be nothing but the union. Okay, so union contains all these elements, but repeated elements are copied only once. Okay, and difference, that is for the part like only maths or only science, we need to find out the difference between these two sets. That is the elements set 1 minus set 2 will be elements which are in set 1 but not in set 2. Okay, that is these three. Clear? Similarly, set 2 minus set 1, what will be that? 2, 4. Okay, so elements which are in set 2 but not in set 1, that is 2, 4. Okay, like this. This is the output, expected output, and this is the sample input given. Okay, so if we have such thing in front of us, that will help us better in coding, writing the code. So I will just show you a sample code in code blocks. You can have this editor code blocks which has GCC compiler at the backend. Okay, so we will solve the problem using C now, and first of all we will think about accepting and displaying the input. Okay, so these two functions we will think about, and validate I will tell you in the next session. Okay, we will not concentrate on this validation at this moment, only accept and display, that is what we will do in this session. And if required, we will go for the one more processing function. Okay, so in main function we will declare the variables to store the input sets, that is set 1. Set 1 will be storing the roll numbers for maths, the students who like maths. Set 2 will be storing the roll numbers of the students who like science. And set 3, set 4, all these are the output sets. And N3, N1, N2, N3, these are nothing but the dimensions, to store the dimensions of this sets. Okay, so is the screen visible? Yes,
Yes,
just
ma'am.
okay.
Yeah, ma'am.
See the code. Now, see, every program which we are writing now onwards, it will have a menu. Most of the programs will have menu because we are going to have multiple processing functions. So we will represent the functionality using a menu. So we have to write menu driven program with the help of functions. Okay, in every program, functions are expected. Without functions, we should not write any program. Okay, these are the certain rules you have to follow here onwards. So in order to design the menu, we will use do while loop, and in do while there will be switch case. Okay, so this will be the skeleton we will follow in each and every program, and that will be habitual to you when you write 2 or 3 programs. Okay, so this is the first part you have to write in main function. First, do while. Here we will provide the functionality what is expected by our program. So first is for accepting input. This is our option 1. Second option is displaying the 2 sets. Okay, so when these 2 functions are executed properly, then we will go to the processing functions like union, intersection, symmetric difference, etc. Okay, then here we are taking the choice from the user. After providing the menu, after offering the menu, we are taking the choice from the user what he wants to do. And accordingly, in switch case, so if he says option 1, okay, case 1 will be executed. If he says option 2, case 2 will be executed, like that. So in case 1 is for accepting 2 sets. Okay, so here uh, check one by one what we will be doing. So in accepting, we have to first take here the dimension. It is how many students are there who like maths. Okay, that we will ask, and we will accept those many elements. We will take the roll numbers of those many students and store it in set 1, that is array 1. Okay, so this will be the first part. So here we are calling the accept function. So what is the job of this accept function? To initialize the array set 1 with n1 elements. Okay, and maximum value of n1 will be 10 because we have allocated memory for 10 elements here. Clear? So maximum number of students will be 10. If you want more, you can allocate more memory. Okay, so this is the first part. Then we will skip this part at this moment. In the next session, we can discuss this validation of the input. Then go ahead, go for the next input, that is accepting the second set. Okay, so accepting the second set. For second set, we are taking the dimension first from the user, and for those many elements, we are asking for the accept function. We are calling accept again, but we will initialize here set 2 with n2 elements. Okay, so in this case 1, what we are doing, we are taking dimension of first set and calling accept to initialize set 1 with n1 elements. Then again take the dimension of the second set and call accept again for initializing set 2 with n2 elements. Okay, so for accept function, we have declared that accept function, which at a time it is accepting one set, one array it is initializing. Okay, and we have called that function twice because we need 2 input sets. That's why we are calling that function twice. Clear? And now what is remaining in function designing? So third part is, yes, definition of the function. Isn't it? We have done the declaration of the function, calling of the function. Calling can be done multiple times. Declaration and definition should be only once. Okay, so we will do the definition. Definition will be after our main function is over. Okay, So after our main function is over, we will write the definition of accept function. Okay, so this is a generalized definition. We have to create set one. See, sequence of parameters must be same as in declaration, same as calling, and same in the uh, definition also. In all three, we have declared, we have passed here an integer array first, and then the single integer element, isn't it? So same sequence of parameter must be followed in all the three, in declaration, in definition, as well as in calling. Okay. So here we have to write actual statements, actual instructions which need to be executed during the when the call is done to this function. Okay. So what we want to do in accept function, we have to initialize these n elements in the array set. Okay, so here we can change the name. Okay, so in case of first call, the set one is nothing but our set. In case of second call, set two is our set. Okay, and what is to be done in this? For I equal to 0 to n. Okay, so n elements we have to add into the array. Okay, so set of I we are initializing. Now why to start with 0? Because every element, every array starts with the 0. Okay, index 0 is always there with any array. Okay, so I equal to 0 to n. So first value which is entered by the user will be there in, will be stored in set of 0. Next value will be stored in set of 1, like that. Okay, so this is the definition of the function. We are initializing as many values user wants to put in the set. Okay, so here we can put the condition that n should be less than 10 because our size is 10. Okay, that check you can do. Clear? Accept function is clear. This is the definition, and calling is done multiple times. So we want two arrays to be accepted, so we are calling twice with different input. Initially we have set 1. In the second iteration we have set 2 as input set. Okay, so after these two arrays are initialized, what we want to display, we want to check whether those arrays are properly created or not. Set 1 and set 2 are properly created or not, that we have to check. So we will have a display function which will display those arrays in the required format. Okay, so display function for displaying a single set at a time, and we are calling it twice. So display function is called twice for set 1 as well as set 2. Okay, so it will display the two elements, two sets. Okay, and we will not look for the other functionality cases, that will be done one by one after our input is obtained properly. Okay, so we'll see the definition of display function. In display we have certain formatting which is given to the sets, like I shown you that example. Okay, so set has the format to be displayed like opening curly bracket, then the elements separated with comma, and then the closing curly bracket. Okay, same thing we will uh, use for displaying the sets here. Okay, that's why we will have opening curly bracket, then closing curly bracket at the end, and the elements will be displayed by this for loop. Okay, n elements we want to display, and comma will be there except the last element. Okay, last element, after last element there will not be any comma. So if it is last element we will not have comma. Okay, percent, only percent d is there, otherwise we will have percent d comma to be displayed, isn't it? So this is just for formatting our output. Okay, and this display function is called twice. Clear? Twice the function is called for both the sets. Now I will execute only this part and check whether our input set is ready or not. Is this executable screen visible to you? The black screen or no?
Yeah, ma'am.
Black
No,
screen is
ma'am.
visible?
No, ma'am. Ma'am, the black screen is not visible.
Okay, I'll just share it again. Now it is visible. Output
Yeah,
screen. Okay.
yeah, ma'am.
So this is the menu which we have written: accept two sets, display two sets, union, intersection, symmetry, difference. But we were not interested now in 3, 4, 5. We have written only 1 and 2, and we will execute only that, check whether our input is properly ready, and then we will go ahead and process one by one for output. Okay. So option one is for taking the input. Enter the number of elements in first set. That is, what message you will display? Enter the number of students who like maths. Okay, because we are going to relate it with our real-time application. Yeah, this is generic. Whatever I am showing, it is generic set operations, but you have to relate it to uh, our problem statement. Okay, so enter the number of elements in the first set. Suppose five students are liking math subject, and I will take their roll numbers. Okay, these are the roll numbers. Now enter the number of elements in the second set. Second set is nothing but the students who like science. So suppose these are the students who like science subject. Okay, 3 and 6. Fine. And I will display the two sets. Clear? So first set is nothing but the students who like math subject. Second set is the students who like science subject. Okay, their roll numbers. We are storing their roll numbers. Fine. And then now our input is properly ready. We know that our input is there in the array properly stored, so we can process it. Okay, after confirming that input is properly there in whatever structure is expected, then we can proceed. Okay. Uh, Rutul, you have joined again. No for loop, madam. Where no for loop?
Ma'am, why have we used do while loop instead of for loop in the first one?
Because that depends on the user's choice when he wants to exit. We cannot predict it initially. Isn't it? Every time we are taking from user the choice until the choice is 6. 6 is for exit. So when user says he gives the input for choice as 6, till that time that loop should execute. So we cannot predict no how many times user wants. Clear? Here I am saying 6 now. I have checked whether the input is properly there. So I am pressing 6. Now it is exiting. Clear? That's why.
Okay, ma'am.
See, while and do while loops are to be used when you are not sure exactly how many times you have to execute. Okay, you know the starting condition, but about the termination condition, you are not sure. So it depends on this. Okay, choice. Clear? So first two cases are properly executed, and this input validation part we will discuss it later. Up to this, you can, without validating input, you can proceed. Okay, so you can just take the dimension of first set, initialize first set. Take the dimension of second set, initialize second set, and display both the sets and check whether you are getting the output. Okay. Now there are certain issues. The some of the students, what they will think like, in the single accept, if I take the input for both the sets, the students try these things. Okay. But what is the problem in this case? See, if you are taking input for two sets in the same function, okay, then at this point it is okay. But then you have not understood the function concept properly. What function says is you have to divide the task into smaller ones. Okay, so if you can accept single set and call it for multiple things, then doing why you are uh, accepting two sets in the same function? Okay, you can call it multiple times. Okay, that is the concept of function. You have to uh, uh, stop repeating the same instructions again and again. Okay, so what we have done here, we have written accept function, these instructions only once, and we are using it for initializing set 1 also and set 2 also. If you write accept function for accepting two sets, you have to write the for loops, similar for loop again for second set. Okay, so that means you are not utilizing the function concept properly. Okay, so don't do such things. Okay, if you can have the another division of the task, do it. Clear? And you have to avoid the redundancy of using the code. That's why uh, you are using the functions, isn't it? Like if I have to add suppose four elements, I will not write the function to add four elements directly. I can add the function to I can write a function to add two elements, and I will call it twice, thrice, whatever times I want. Okay, so we have written accept function for accepting one set and called it twice. Okay, clear? And similarly, display function also we have used twice, called it twice. Okay, because display is written for single set, displaying the single set. Okay, so up to this, if you are getting properly, then go for the next processing function, which is uh, in our program. These are the processing functions. Okay, now first we will go for this part because this is easier one. This can be solved with intersection of two sets. Okay, now our maths and science set is ready. So we can have intersection of these two sets to check the students who like both the subjects. Okay, so we have to write a function for finding the intersection. Okay, so before union we will go to intersection. Now here we will pass our input sets. Okay, this set 1, which is maths set and its dimension. Set 2 is science and its dimension. And set 3, okay, set 3 is declared for storing the output set, and it is returning the dimension of the output set because we don't know how many elements will be common. So we cannot predict what is the dimension of the resultant set. Okay, so that we have to calculate, and then final dimension we will be returning. Okay, so n3 is initially 0, the number of common elements. We are assuming that there is nothing common, and as we are going to find one by one common element, then we will increment that n3. Okay, and ij are the loop counters. So what we are doing is, this is our set 1 elements, and these are the set 2 elements, for example, and this is the resultant set 3, which is intersection set. Okay, so in set 1 we will access the element one by one. So initially we will take 1 and we will compare it. We will search whether 1 is there in complete set 2 or not. Okay, that element 1, whether element 1 from set 1, whether it is present in set 2 or not, that we will check. If it is present, that means it is the it is the common element which we have to write in the intersection set. Okay, so that is how we will proceed. That is what is the logic of intersection. Okay, so we have to find whether 1 is present in complete set 2. If it is present, we will write it into our resultant set. Okay, resultant set. This set 3 is not having anything at this moment. Okay, one by one we will add the elements into it. The common elements will be added into this set 3, and that set 3 will be ready at the end of this function. Okay, then next is we will take 2 from this set and we will check whether 2 is available in set 2 or not. If it is not present, we will neglect. If it is found incomplete, we will compare with each and every element of set 2. Okay, if it is matched, then we will copy it into the resultant set. Otherwise, it will be rejected. Okay, similarly for element 3, 4, 5. So all the elements we will take one by one and we will compare with all the elements of set 2. Okay, so that's why we are using here nested loops. We are not using parallel loops. Okay, we are using nested loops because for every element of set 1 we want to compare with every element of set 2. That's why. Okay, so I equal to 0 to I equal to n1. So when I is 0, we will compare it with all the elements of set 2. J equal to 0, j equal to 1, like that till n2. Okay, then when I is 1, it will be again compared with all the elements of set 2, like that. So every element of set 1, that is set 1 of I, will be compared with each and every element of set 2. Okay, that is set 2 of j. And if it is a if it is found in set 2, we will copy that element. If it is common element, we will copy that element into the resultant set. At which place? N3 place. N3 is initially 0. Okay, so we will copy the first matched element at N3 place and it will be N3 will be incremented. Next matched element will be again copied into set 3 at 1, position 1, because N3 is incremented to 1. So next element will be copied at position 1 and N3 will be incremented to 2, like that. Okay, so finally whatever is the final value of N3, that we will be returning. Okay, and set 3 contains the final elements. Okay, all common elements. After this loop is, okay, this section. So after this execution is done, set 3 with final elements will be ready, which can be displayed by calling display function. Okay, so we will go to case 4 again, which is for intersection. In case 4, what we have done, we are calling intersection function where we are passing actual parameters. This is call. Okay, set 1 n1, set 2 n2, which we have initialized, that will be passed here, and set 3 will be created. Okay, with n3 parameters. Clear? So whatever n3 we have returned from there, it will be stored in this n3, and whatever modifications we have done in set 3, those will be restored. So here we can call display for set 3 with n3 dimension. Okay, so resultant set will be displayed. Clear? So for intersection, we have to do declaration. Okay, declaration where these first 4 parameters are nothing but our input sets, 2 input sets. For set 1, its dimension, set 2, its dimension. Okay, and this is to store the resultant set, and this is for our dimension of the resultant set. Okay, so if this declaration is clear, we can call the function in the same way. Okay, this is actual calling where we are passing the parameters, actual over set1, n1, set2, n2, and this is for storing the set3. See, initially set3 is not having any element, it is just declared. Okay, but after calling the intersection function, set3 will have the elements which will be displayed here. Okay, clear? So same display function we are calling again to display the resultant also. Okay, that is the use of function. We will execute now the program. Again, I will give the input. Suppose 5 elements, 5 students like maths, and these are the roll numbers of these students, and 4 students like science, and
Ma'am, screen is not visible.
not visible. Okay,
No.
I'll just check.
Ma'am, it is visible.
It is visible, ma'am.
Output screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Okay.
Ma'am, I will try rejoining.
Okay. So this is our input. Okay. Now intersection should have how many elements? So what is done in intersection 2 will be compared with all the elements, but there is no common element, that 2 is not found here, so it will be rejected. So if it is not found, we will not do anything with that. Okay, it will be just skipped. Then 4, it is matched with this 4, that means it is common and it will be written into the resultant set. 6, it is not again found, it will be compared one by one with 4, 5, 8, 7, but it is not found, so we will not do anything with 6. 7, it is found here, and so it is common element, so we will write it into the resultant. So 4 and 7 will be written into set 3. Okay, all others will be skipped. Clear? So intersection 4, option 4, 4 and 7. So these are the roll numbers of the students who like both the subjects. Okay, clear? So we can relate this set operations to real-time example. And union and symmetric difference, it is pending, but we will do it in the next session or so. Okay, so up to this it is clear. So in this session what we learned is how to write menu driven program, how to pass array to the function, that we are going to discuss in detail in the next lecture. Okay, but this is a good application to show how arrays are passed to the function. Okay, and one more thing we saw how to uh, write the functions. Okay, declaration, definition, and calling of the functions. All these things we saw. Okay, so I want all of you to practice this uh, code. Up to this you write accept, display, and intersection function. Okay, one by one. Accept display likho, check whether it is working properly or not, and then go for the intersection function. Don't directly write complete program, that is not a good practice for program writing. Okay, so first check whether you can take the input from the user. If you are able to accept the input from the user, then apply one by one processing functions to it and display the output. Okay, and after you do these things, accept, display, and intersection, then try to think about the logic for union and symmetric difference, all those things. Okay, so even if you don't do that, it is fine. We will discuss it in the next session, but these things are required, that you should try to write the code for accept, display, and intersection. Okay, if you can do that, if you can come up with the doubts, etc., then we will discuss it first and then we will go ahead. Okay, This is actually a very simple assignment, but important in order to understand the array concept. Okay, and don't keep any work pending. Whatever we are discussing, complete it at the same time so that you can uh, understand the next concepts. Otherwise, it will be difficult for you to understand the further concepts without practicing the previous ones. Okay, so I will stop recording. If you have any doubt,